morning, good afternoon, good evening. Here is my video of the year. I think in this video, many people, particularly those of us from Africa, they should pay attention to this. Because here is somebody who is telling us the truth that we have avoided saying it to ourselves.
People's curse in Africa. The problem isn't the leader, it's the people. That's the truth Africa has avoided for too long. We love to shout change every election, yet our hearts remain the same. We expect new results from the same broken mindset. We remove one man and replace him with another molded from the same soil of greed, ignorance, and impatience. From Nigeria to Kenya, from Zambia to South Africa, from Ghana to Congo, the story repeats like an old drumbeat that never changes its rhythm. Africa doesn't suffer from a lack of leaders. It suffers from a lack of citizens who think. We treat politics like a football match. We wear party colors like jerseys and scream for our team to win, not for our nation to rise. We celebrate thieves because they come from our tribe. We defend failures because they share our tongue. And when the country falls apart, we act shocked, as if we didn't vote for the very hand that now chokes us. We say we want change, but we want it fast, instant like coffee. We want overnight success without discipline, without sacrifice, without time. But no real change grows overnight. It takes seasons of sweat, pain, and patience. Even the best leader cannot build in a land where citizens destroy faster than they repair. You cannot plant mangoes and expect oranges. And yet, that's the curse of our continent. We build illusions and call them dreams. We fall for promises that sound sweet, ignoring the bitter medicine of truth. Politicians know this. That's why they lie. Lies sell faster than truth because truth demands work. Truth offends the lazy, it exposes the comfortable. Democracy, as we practice it, has become a theater of deception, a system designed to enslave the very minds it promised to free. The ballot has become our new chain. Every few years we line up to vote, not for vision, but for faces. Not for progress, but for revenge. We think replacing a man will replace our condition. But the real prison is not State House. It's the mind of the African voter. Look around. Every African country repeats the same cycle. Corruption, outrage, elections, hope, disappointment, then silence. We blame presidents for potholes, but refuse to pick up trash outside our homes. We curse the government for unemployment, but celebrate shortcuts and fraud. We expect heaven from leaders while living like devils in our own small spaces. And yet the truth remains. No leader can save a people unwilling to save themselves. Real change begins when citizens grow up, when they read, think, question, and work, not just when they complain. When they build communities before building slogans, when they understand that government is not a savior, but a reflection of the people. Africa doesn't need more elections. It needs continuity, accountability, and citizens who act like owners, not spectators. The greatest revolution is not in the streets, it's in the mind. The day Africans stop waiting for rescue, that will be the day we rise. Until then, we remain trapped, not by bad leaders, but by our own illusions.
It's very true. It is very sad that this, one could call it a basic truth, has remained hidden in plain sight. Soon after independence, many people will remember how some people were so committed to believing that Zanu, Robert Mugabe and these Zanu PF guys were our liberators and they could not do anything wrong. So much so that criticizing Mugabe in the 80s, you do it at your own risk. That's how naive many of us were. Even at the time when Zanu PF was committing the Kukurahundi massacre, you could see that some people are struggling to accept that this is a tyrannical, murderous regime because they just didn't want to accept that. It took another 20 years before the penny finally dropped. That Zanu PF was a party of thugs, corrupt, incompetent, who were determined to stay in power at all costs. It was then that the nation decided that they needed to elect opposition leaders who will implement the democratic changes necessary to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. But instead of paying attention this time to detail, we did not. Morgan Tsvangirai and his MDC friends offered themselves as the nation's liberators, and the people embraced them. As the video clip was showing there, we were all shouting, change, change, chinja, chinja. And yet, even to this day, the overwhelming majority of the so-called MDC CCC supporters have no clue what change we wanted. What's the point of shouting change when you don't have a clue of what that change looks like? And so when the opportunity, the golden opportunity to implement the changes during the GNU of 2008 to 2013 came about, Morgan Tsvangirai and company failed to implement even one reform. Not even one. And not surprisingly, the people didn't even notice it. That is the tragedy. The people failed to realize that the GNU, the primary purpose of the GNU, was to implement the democratic reforms. And that MDC leaders sold out. So they'd been screaming change, change, and they had no clue what that change was to look like. And when MDC failed, sold out on implementing the changes, even to this day, many of them do not realize it. Ever since the departure of Morgan Tsvangirai, and when he was replaced by Chamisa, it has been the same mindset. We place our leaders on pedestals where they are untouchable. Ever since the GNU, the failed GNU, MDC leaders have abandoned implementing the democratic changes to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. Instead, they've urged their supporters to participate in flawed elections to perpetuate the dictatorship. And it's amazing how time and again the supporters have been conned to believe that Chamisa and company would deliver change. In 2023, Chamisa told his supporters he had plugged all the vote-rigging loopholes Zanu PF will not be able to rig the elections. But rig they did. And Chamisa himself has been complaining about the rigged elections. But what is really surprising is that the people themselves have not realized that Chamisa told them one thing, that Zanu PF will not rig 2023 elections. And yet, that is exactly what Zanu PF did. And they cannot accept that Chamisa therefore lied to them because of this personality cult mentality. Chamisa cannot do nothing wrong. He cannot be corrupt. He cannot be incompetent. He cannot be a liar. He cannot be a con man. But the truth of the matter is that is exactly what he is. And our failure to realize that both Zanu PF and MDC have exploited that weakness, their own selfish ends. And we, as a nation, have paid dearly for it. It is amazing how we in Africa, in Zimbabwe, have spent the last 45 years and counting, and we still cannot hold free, fair, and credible elections. How is that possible? And yet, there it is. We have been shouting for change without paying attention to what change we want. Man is supposed to be a creature of reason. And yet, this is the one thing that many of us out there detest with a passion. We really don't want to think. And unfortunately, we have leaders on both sides of the political divide who have seen that weakness and have exploited it for their own selfish ends. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.